Have you ever felt trapped in a meeting? After a few minutes, you realize that this is a completely pointless meeting, and then you start asking yourself, why am I even here? I've been to some meetings like that throughout my career, and here is a checklist of what not to do and how do you make sure that you don't run pointless meetings like that. So recently I was invited to a meeting. Being the SME and in a leadership role, the idea was that, I should come to the meeting, talk to the customer and help the deal move forward and things like that. When I asked about what was the agenda, what was the customer's needs, the person who was actually coordinating the meeting, setting up the meeting with the customer, they really didn't have a good idea, but they said, Saurabh, we'll be able to find out the requirements on the call. I think your experience will be very helpful. Please do attend. I politely accepted and attended planned to attend the meeting next day. To my surprise, when I came to the meeting, it was completely different from what I had anticipated. We had one person from the customer side. We had about 12 or 13 people from our side, and it was chaotic. Initially, I didn't even know what was going on. Did I join the wrong meeting? Were we still talking to the customer, or is it just an internal call? The meeting invite was actually for 30 minutes. So we had people from recruitment on our end. We had a couple of guys who were from solutioning. We had a couple of guys, who were there because they were the account managers or the guys who knew the customer themselves. In this chaotic environment, I realized quickly people were stepping on each other's toes. And during all of this time, my attention went to this one person who's the customer. On one side, I thought how polite of him to not say anything and just be okay with this. On the other side, I started thinking he's like in the gladiator's ring and he's being attacked by everybody who's just looking for his blood. Again, too dramatic, I know, but that's how the kind of image I had in my head, that he's in the center of the ring and everybody's trying to attack him, ask him questions, and then the team members are all stepping on each other. It was chaotic. And eventually I decided to leave the call because I knew that there is nothing really I can do or contribute in this call. So if you've been in a call like that, let's talk about few ways on how not to do this again ever in your career. Here are my 5 ideas on how to make calls or how to set up calls which really don't suck, which deliver to the promise, which use everybody's time and are efficient. My number 1 rule would be 2:1 rule ratio or ratio rule. If in any call, if you have one person joining from the customer, I think the best proportion of number of people joining from your end should not be more than twice the number of people coming from the customer side, because that keeps the whole meeting and the vibe balanced. If you are attending in 10:1 or 14:1 or 12:1 ratio, it is crazy. It's completely out of balance. The customer might feel like overwhelmed. He feels he's surrounded by too much. It may also look like that you don't have the competency enough, that you need 14 people to be on the call, and it also becomes quite chaotic and disorganized. Under the same rule of 2:1, I would also consider how long the meeting is. For 30 minutes meeting or a 45-minute meeting, I think it's better to keep the total count of audience under 3 to 4 people. My way of thinking is that if everybody gets to speak 10 minutes, ideally in a 30-minute meeting, you should not have more than 3 people. Otherwise, most people would just end up sitting there and listening. Probably not the best use of people's time. If you're running a 2 hours meeting, you are running a marathon conversations or a working session, there is enough time to go around for everybody to speak and contribute and be part of it. Good. But generally my approach is take the number of minutes in that meeting, divide by 10, which is like give at least 10 minutes to everybody, and then think how many people should be. Again, these are not hard rules, but gives me a good idea on how many people should be in a meeting. So follow the 2:1 ratio in terms of customer to our own people, and similarly follow the divide by 10 method to find out how many people roughly should be in the meeting to really make it productive. My second advice is to stop inviting just in case people. This happens a lot where we tend to invite people who we kind of think that just in case I need this type of perspective, just in case I need somebody from pre-sales, just in case I need somebody from deep technology architecture, just in case I need somebody from senior leadership. You don't really have to do it. Third is set the clear roles and the intent of the meeting. I think if you set the intent of the meeting upfront, then you can automatically decide what type of people you need and what their role will be in the meeting and what will it do in terms of moving the ball forward. Very, very important, because that will also eliminate the need of just in case type of people or having too many people on your meeting. Number 4 is, like I said, if you have too many people coming onto the meeting, 90% of the people will just be there listening, absorbing. And I feel in today's time we have some of the better tools available. We can actually use artificial intelligence transcripts or agents which can actually pull all the data of the conversations in the meeting. They can actually call out very clearly on what the total discussion was about, what were the action items, who owns those action items, what are the next steps, things like that. So that is a lot more efficient use of time. Even if you'd like somebody to hear verbatim from the customer or the person who was speaking in the meeting, you could also record the meeting and share this. But I sincerely think that recorded meetings, let's say a 2-hour session, seldom somebody is going to go and go through the whole session. AI has made our life so easy where you don't really have to sit through a 2-hour meeting again. You can go through a detailed transcript. You could ask it what kind of questions were asked, what was most important, what are the action items, who owns these action items. With Microsoft Copilot and several other tools, you could actually mine the insights and the data from the meeting. So that's a lot more sensible use of everybody's time rather than have everybody just join the meeting. And lastly, again, something similar to what I've said, but agenda first, then invitees. With every customer, with every internal meeting also, the number one thing should be about agenda. What is the goal of the meeting? What do we want to achieve in this meeting? And if that agenda is circulated and with the customer there is an agreement, customer would also appreciate if you want to address or if you will address a particular agenda item during the meeting, rather than going through useless introductions, going through people coming in, dropping off the meetings, or trying to ask questions which conflict from each other, or not having one single person who is sort of driving the entire flow of the conversation. Very, very important, and I think it makes your call look extremely professional also. All right, so those were some of my points, 5 points how to make sure that your meetings don't suck, you don't create chaotic meetings, and you make the best use of your team and your leaderships and your technical resources, their time. If you have any questions or you have a better advice, in fact, on how you make your meetings efficient, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much. Bye.